four of us that were left that he wanted us to be a part of the group. It was me, Ronnie, Alex, and Jimmy.
It took a minute for me to like really step back and think maybe I do need a repackage, for lack of a better term. The storyline plan was only for about a year, I would say. I think our feud with the Beach Bums was definitely the platform. We dedicated a lot of time to filming those, but you know what? I was just so proud of it. The natural chemistry with all 8 of us, it was there. That's when the realization hit, like, oh, we're being trusted to go in there with the big boys now. I could picture myself being in the rec center right now.
He used WrestlePro to entice him to accept the fight.
That is, I am unofficially the youngest wrestler to ever compete in the Sullivan Arena. Wrestling those guys made us so much better as a tag team. And then I think we realized that now was the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm absolutely pumped for this one. These guys started all for me. Ronnie Moses, Malcolm Moss, thank you guys for joining me for this one.
Thank you,
Thank you
buddy.
for having us.
I've been waiting for this. I thought you'd never ask Security Inc. to be on Best for Business, but here we are.
It's so crazy. I say it all the time. I was just telling Malcolm, I see TJ Crawford pretty much every weekend, and whenever I see him, it's always asking about job security, the Beach Bums. You guys have had such a big impact on me, so I want to start off by saying thank you guys for everything.
Well, it's funny that you say that, bud, because hope you don't mind, but I have something here that you sent to me a long time ago.
That's insane.
Oh, wow.
That was like a 7th grade school project, I remember.
This is dated January 29th, 2018.
That's crazy.
And it's
it was like language arts. You might need to send me a photo of that. I can't even remember.
It's a 1-page paper about me.
Love it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Me/job security.
That's insane. And then the drawings, you guys were an OG for that one too. You guys started off for me that too.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me nowadays, well, a few of the New England wrestlers that when I became a sophomore in high school, that they looked like they were done by Helen Keller, so I kind of stopped doing them. But I'm absolutely pumped for this one. Now let's start from the beginning. I remember when I first started seeing you guys, it was WrestlePro. So for you guys, I don't know who started first, but how did WrestlePro come into mind, and what was the reason behind training there?
First was me by a few months, actually. So I guess I'll go first. So I've been a lifelong fan of pro wrestling since I was about 5 years old, and I didn't really decide. Well, I knew that I wanted to be a wrestler when I grew up, but when I was a teenager, I just kind of put it off to the side because wrestling wasn't really seen as cool at the time.
Yeah.
But then when I was about 15, I decided, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. I still love wrestling. I've never stopped loving wrestling, unlike a lot of the boys my age at that time. So at the time, I was a high school football player, and I was pretty overweight. So I decided to take time to, I was still very young, obviously, to just get in shape, get my body right, and be ready. So fast forward about a year and a half, I joined Creative Pro New Jersey at 17, which would be October 2014.
Wow.
And a few months later, I met the other gentleman on the call here.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Just like Ronnie, I was a lifelong fan my whole life. And then, I was, 26. So then, I kept looking for schools, and then I would make excuses on why not to join. So then it was January 1st, and then my birthday was coming up, my 26th birthday. And I just remember my wife, she was like, look, you keep on talking about it, if you're not going to do it now, you're never going to do it, so just do it. And that's all I needed to hear. So then I was doing some research, and at that time, Pat Buck had a podcast that I used to listen to. So I was like, you know what, let me go over there and give the school a try. And as soon as I walked in, I just fell in love with everything I saw. I was like, yeah, it just felt right. It felt like I wanted to be there. So then it was off to the races from there.
So when we talk about Creative Pro New Jersey, we'll start with you, Ronnie. So that school is iconic for me. I remember growing up reaching out to everybody there. I was such a fanboy for them. So for you guys, for somebody who trained there, whether it was Pat Buck or another trainer, what do you think was like some of the biggest lessons you learned from being at that school?
Man, it was just it's a very solid school for like just drilling the basics into you. We couldn't have had a better foundation, I think. Um, Pat and the guys that were there at the time just teach right, you know. Just make sure you have your foundation down, like I said. Doing your roles right, just drilling in chain wrestling and really being able to wrestle. It's something that I definitely grew to appreciate through Pat's love for it. And then the other trainers at that time were Mario Bokura and Dan Moff. Mario I just can't say enough good things about that man. Of course, he was a tremendous wrestler when you were watching WrestlePro years back. But as a trainer, just so incredibly patient. Again, very good at drilling in the basics. And then when I talk about Dan Moff, that's the guy that'll let a fighter under your ass. I learned intensity from him, no doubt. He brought that out in me. Just intensity, just realism. Just a really great group of trainers we had.
Well, one big lesson I learned from Mario was just like look in the mirror and just be real with yourself. And just like that's how you don't be over like don't look in the mirror and like think that you're Roman Reigns when you're actually like hornswoggle. So you just gotta be real with yourself. And the other thing I had to say was Ronnie's right that they give you a foundation. Like I believe like anybody in that school, once you go to that school, you learn and you like take what they give you. You can go in the ring with anybody and have a solid match.
Yeah, so I'm curious. So Ronnie, you talk about meeting Malcolm, but from your eyes, what was that first interaction you had with Malcolm Moss?
I've told this story before. Now, like I said, I was a teenager when I joined.
Yeah.
So teenage boys aren't always so nice. So when I first looked at Malcolm, it was first of all very obvious to me that he had scoliosis, and of course, he was a little overweight. So I was just like, I remember very judgmentally thinking, like, what is this guy doing here? Like he doesn't look like he's cut out for this. But then over time, of course, I got to know Malcolm and talk to him. I was like, wow, this guy's really nice. He's cool. And he proved myself and probably a lot of other people wrong because he could go once he got in the ring. It's incredible. And, of course, as time went on, we became closer. And we'll get to it eventually as we talk more. But obviously, we decided to form a tag team at some point.
So, Malcolm, what were your thoughts on Ronnie Moses at first?
Well, first I was like, I thought that he was like radio when radio at first came out. Like that's what I thought. I was like, oh wow, is he good looking kid and he could go in the ring? But then he was always like on opposite sides. But there was like always a chemistry. Like once we got in the ring, it was like it just felt natural. And I kind of felt because I was teaming with my brother at the time at first, but I could always feel like there's a chemistry between us, even as opponents. But I was like, I kind of felt like if we were a team, then like we'll be on fire. It was always a chemistry. We're gonna talk about it, but even when we did job security, it was like us two like connected more than any of the other ones.
Yeah, so I remember when I first started talking to you guys, I was marking out them and I'm marking out now, but I don't know who wants to take this first. How was job security originally pitched for you guys?
You can take this one, Malcolm, and then I'll jump in.
All right, so at first it wasn't pitched. So they had an idea for Dan Moss, but he was in a match. And after the match, he was going to beat up a whole bunch of security guards. So at the time, Roddy was doing the gimmick, but he wasn't really doing anything. So then I was in the tag team, but I wasn't doing much in that tag team. So we were sitting in the back. So Pat and Kevin come to the back and they grab a couple of us to be a part of the segment. And I actually asked to be a part of the segment because I wasn't doing anything. So I actually asked, and then like at first they were very like receptive to it because they were like, oh, they're gonna know who you are because of your scoliosis. I was like, no, please, I just want to be a part of it. So then they allowed me to be a part of it. So there's a whole bunch of us. There was like a whole bunch of security guards. There was like 10 security guards. they're about to beat the crap out of us, beat all of us up, throw us around and everything. So it was Kevin Matthews who came up with the idea of like, hey, what if we had security guards as actual wrestlers on every show and had like a group? So then the next practice, he had a bunch of us in the ring doing promos. And out of all those people, there was like six of us. It was just four of us that were left that he wanted us to be a part of the group. It was me, Ronnie, Alex, and Jimmy.
Yeah, so Malcolm and I both at that time were lost in the shuffle creatively in our own individual ways. When job security was pitched to me, I honestly at first I still had my heart set on just having my singles run and just furthering my career that way. It took a minute for me to like really step back and see the bigger picture. Like, okay, I want to do this, but it's not really getting me anywhere right now. So maybe I do need a repackage, for lack of a better term. So it took me a little bit to warm up to job security, but if there are any young wrestlers listening to this, my best advice is just to keep an open mind when something is brought to the table for you, because I'm, in hindsight, accepting that idea and going all in on it was the best thing I could have done.
Nice. So Malcolm, real quick, I'm curious. You said there was like 6 of you guys in the ring. Do you remember the guys that didn't get picked for job security?
Not really. But I just remember
they don't wrestle anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the thing that I think was like the thing that was perfect about the four of us, like we all had a different personality.
Yeah.
But it just meshed so well because like I don't know why. It's like we all had our own different quirks, but we want something to the team that made it all work out.
Yeah. So the thing I loved about job security at the time when you were called that is you guys made the most out of the smallest thing. So I'm curious, you do stuff with Bobby Wayward at first, but when do you guys go like past that and realize like you're gonna make something bigger out of it?
Man, I mean, at the time, I didn't think it was possible,
Yeah.
Because originally job security was like, it was really, the storyline plan was only for about a year, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
To go off what Malcolm was saying, I feel like he and I were kind of just learning as we went along with how to present ourselves as a group, in terms of displaying our own unique personalities within the team.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question? I got off.
How did you guys when did you realize it was going to be more than something with just Bobby Wayward and like make the most out of it, make it to like what it was becoming?
Right. So, job security started at the very beginning of 2017.
Yep.
It was honestly before the end of the year that like we kind of had gotten over on our own and we're getting these massive crowd reactions, to where it was kind of like everyone realized collectively that we can be our own entity. So we just kind of phased out of being Bobby Wayward Security and just being our own unit. I would say, and I know we're going to talk about this, but I think our feud with the Beach Bums was definitely the platform for us getting to that point.
So speaking of Malcolm, the first thing to talk about making the most out of something, please introduce me or tell me your idea behind Carl, because not a lot of people can make the most out of a megaphone.
The main thing was I was just trying to come up with my own look too.
Nice.
So I was thinking, I was like, how can I look different from these guys? Like Jimmy has his own look, Alex had his own look, and Ronnie had his. So I was like, you know what? I wanted to kind of be like the enforcer behind Ronnie, but I wanted to be that loud guy because I just remember Jimmy Hart with the megaphone, how much heat he used to get.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna get a megaphone. So I bought a megaphone. And then over time, like everybody kept saying that I look like Carl Winslow. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give the megaphone a name. So that's how Carl became a part of the show.
This could be me being a mark. Didn't Carl like die or something?
Yes, I had the megaphone in my hand one time in a match against Mario Bocaro, and he Jerry suplexed me, and the megaphone flew out of my hand, and it broke. And once it broke, we did a video like saying rest in peace to Carl, and then I went and bought a red megaphone, which was Carl Jr.
Wow. So we talk about it, Ronnie. You mentioned it, the Beach Bums. Now, the first thing I want to ask you about in general, we talk job security. I was going down memory lane yesterday. whose idea was behind a lot of these vignettes or videos you guys did just in general? Like, I remember you guys did like a holiday special. You guys did so much. Like, who was the creative one of job security, you'd say?
Those vignettes were mostly led by Freddie Flamingo, actually. He was very, very thorough because he had a vision and he organized most of it, honestly.
Nice.
It was honestly like it was a great idea. We dedicated a lot of time, a lot of hours to filming those, but you know what? I was just so proud of it because especially on the independents, like long feature length promos like that. I don't think it was really being done, honestly.
Yeah.
It was very. We definitely stood out that way, and I think it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Now, when we talk the beach bums, how do you guys make the most out of this feud? Like, I remember you did the vignettes at the beach. You do a match with the beach bums and Swoggle, one with Hot Dog Stark. So tell me about that feud, Ronnie. What does that feud do for you guys at first?
That was, I would say it was our first like feud being on our own, actually.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was gonna become like a full program, but the natural chemistry with all six of us, eight of us, however many, it was there. It was absolutely there. And the story just kind of wrote itself. You know, you had the laid back, you know, guys on the beach versus the uptight, loudmouth security team wanting to stifle the fun. It was just a natural fit. The crowd just bit into it so well. It was just like, again, like I said earlier, just kind of learning on the fly about accentuating our personalities because when it came to the beach bums, we all foiled each other.
Malcolm, what does that feud with the beach bums do for you, you think?
I think the main thing that I loved about that feud was we were all guys who were came in around the same time, so we all formed a friendship, and we was like the thing was we there was no egos a part of all of us. So we always try to help each other get to the next level. So there was a little competition to get to that next level, but it was also a friendship where it's like I'm gonna help this person up with me. All right, we're gonna put on the best match we can, and it was like we were trying to get eyes on I don't know from the people to show like, hey, we can do this. Like, look at what we can do. Like, we were trying to build something all together as friends, you know, and that's what, and it was fun. It was like we were just having fun doing it, but we're also like trying to grow together, you know. So that's what it was the big thing for me.
Yeah, so when I was going down memory road, I was watching all the vignettes. I was watching a few of your matches last night, but I'm curious. I'll start with you, Ronnie. What, in your eyes, would you say was job security's first big opportunity in wrestling?
The moment I think where we were given that big platform to just like take the ball and run
Yeah.
was WrestlePro Silver Survivor when the four of us took on the Cornerstones. Because that's when the realization hit like, oh, we're being trusted to go in there with the big boys now. Like to be across the ring from Dan Moff and Mario Boccara and Fala and Anthony Bones, who was a rising star at the time. That was just like a big eye opener. Just being in the ring with them.
Yeah.
I big breakthrough moment for us.
That's a big one too. Well, for me, like the first time, this was before the Silver Survivor.
Yeah.
That I was like, where I felt like it was like big for us was when we got in the ring with the Beach Boys and Swallow.
Yeah.
For them to trust us with a WWE guy, and then that was our first time actually having like we just got our gear. That's my first time actually having real like wrestling gear. So like that time, like getting into the ring with wrestling gear and actually wrestling a WWE guy, it was just amazing to me.
Yeah. So when we talk about amazing, I remember the resume for you guys keeps going and going. So Ronnie, 2017 winning Stable of the Year for WrestlePro. I don't even know if they do awards nowadays, but for you guys winning that stable, what did that mean for you guys?
That meant everything.
Yeah.
Honestly unexpected to me because we were in that category. I know the Beach Bums were another nominee. I honestly can't remember the other two nominees, unfortunately. But I think it was unexpected to me because we were just so hated for most of the year.
Yeah.
But at the same time online, like we had developed like a cult following, I guess you could say. So when it came to online voting, we took the award. So it was just a big surprise to me. I remember like it really hit home to me. Like I was a little emotional that night.
Nice.
Just like being acknowledged for like all the work that we had put in, and honestly, like I wish I could give half of that award to the Beach Bums because I feel like that rivalry is what made most of our year, and just really we like Malcolm was saying, we all helped each other. We all helped like push our characters along in terms of development. Um, so yeah, just a really big source of pride for me.
Nice. Malcolm, what does that award mean for you?
Oh, that it was just a combination of like to me, like all of that idea for job security, like for us to get that award is like, wow, we didn't think of like us becoming a team or doing this. Like for us, like to be given an idea and actually make it work, it was just amazing. It was like that night was just special. And I got in trouble that night too because I got up there and I got a little emotional and then I was saying like this was the best moment of my life when my wife was sitting right in the front row and I just got engaged with her. So I got in trouble, but yeah, it was just a beautiful moment and just like it just shows like the hard work pays off.
Yeah, when we talk about hard work, Ronnie, come the year after, you guys win most hated of the year. So I'm curious, do you remember anybody in that category you beat, and how did that award feel?
Yeah, I remember this one a little bit more vividly. I think we were up against Sean Donovan, who I remember was the number two.
Wow.
Bobby Wayward, which was great. Like, oh, that's a full circle moment. Like
Yeah.
beating our former boss for most hated, and then I think Nikos Rikos was the other candidate.
Love
So
it.
we have like a group of like really solid heels there, and yeah, just to win that award, it was just like a good acknowledgement of like the characters that we had become. I took that with a great source of pride because like hate and love are very close, so we were getting the right reactions.
Yeah, Malcolm, what's that award for you guys? You guys put in the work all
I
year.
I was shocked.
Nice.
Especially the people who were in the category with, I was like, yeah, we're definitely not going to do this. And then when I music hit, I was like, oh, we are this. Oh, so
Yeah.
it was just shocked. I was like, it was the same, like, yeah, like what we was doing was working, so I was just happy when winning it. I still have the trophy hung up too, so
Now, did all four of you guys get the trophies or just one? How'd that work?
oh, somebody's gonna get one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was Jimmy.
So I'm like actually curious. I remember when this posted, I was so pumped for you guys. Ronnie, what did it feel like when you guys got that 3-1, the WrestlePro Tag Team titles? We talk about putting in the work, seeing all your hard work pay off. I believe it was against Dorian and Steele for that one. So how did that one feel?
2019 was like an incredibly pivotal year for us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna credit Malcolm because once we won that most hated award, we kind of felt like we had done all that we could do as bad guys. It was time to like turn the page and see what we could do like on the other side. So during that year, we went from being most hated to fan favorites, honestly. And it was just like I expected it to be a rougher transition than it was, but the fans were ready for it. Like they were with us the whole way. So it all just fell into place kind of perfectly where we had like a mini story with the Hispanic mechanics team Espana at the time,
Yeah.
and helped transition us to getting what was built up as our first ever championship opportunity after 3 long years at WrestlePro. We had just perfectly become this underdog team that was ready to fight, you know, the old veterans who had been holding it down for all these years. You want to talk about emotional moments? We were both in tears after that one. That match, once we got to that point, it honestly felt like an out of body experience. Just the way the crowd was with us, just like I remember every movement so vividly, and not just because I've watched that match back several times, but I could picture myself being in the rec center right now. Just like an incredible moment. I remember every sound, every sight, every feeling. It was awesome. It was one of the highlights of my career.
Malcolm, what's that match mean to you and getting that pinfall?
So I was talking about like before getting to that match. So around that time too, before then, Alex had just left for job security, so we rid him off. So there was a time that I wasn't doing well with work and wrestling life, so I had to take some time away. So I took some time away, but it kind of left a void. So Ronnie had the team with Jimmy, and after teaming with Jimmy, there was the connection wasn't the same as the way he did with me.
Yeah.
And I remember him begging me to come back. And I'm trying to get my life in order and trying to get my life right. And I just remember him begging me to come back. Like no, you got to come back ASAP.
Yeah.
So then, like, you know what? I got things in order, and then I actually came back to the school, and I came back to wrestling. And then once I came back to wrestling, we realized like we had to be a tag team. Like, it was sad at first, and then we was like we had to part ways with Jimmy because of what we was gonna do and how we was gonna grow. So like we had to talk, we all talked, and then it was like, all right, now that we got that part out of the way, and I'm back. Now we had to go full blown and just like take the world by storm. So then from there, from that point on to go into the turn baby phase, and then after we turn baby phase, to go to that point to where we're gonna win the tag team titles, it was just like for me, it was awesome because it's like I walked into the rec center and nobody believed my first day that I was gonna stay. Like nobody thought that I was gonna last a month. And then for me to win the tag title in the rec center in front of all these people, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like to show like hard work does pay off, and it was like you get rewarded for your hard work.
Yeah. So earlier, Ronnie, you talked about being a lifelong wrestling fan. So for you personally, how did it feel when you got the opportunity to do security for WWE? Because still not a lot of people could say they've had opportunities like that.
Man, it's inspiring to just be back there and just like see the experience. You being on the independents is very fun. Don't get me wrong, but when you're on that big stage, you're reminded of what you could achieve, and it's just very surreal to be there. I was really just happy to be there.
Yeah.
It didn't even matter to me. Like, obviously, it's great to be on camera, but just being there is an experience in of itself. But yeah, just running down the ramp on Monday Night Raw, getting in the ring, trying to pry Samoa Joe off Seth Rollins, and just being on camera for a backstage segment as well. Again, that's another highlight of my career. I absolutely love that time.
Malcolm, what about you? How was your experience?
Oh man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like just to be around all those like that's something you dream of being. It's something like you're trained to become. It's like like a high school football player going to the NFL team. It's like you're going to the major league, you're seeing it. So it's like, wow, I want to be here. Like it's inspiring. And then I get to be in a segment with Becky Lynch. I'm like, this is amazing. Like I want to be here. Like I think every wrestler should be able to experience that to see if they really want it because that's the goal. So if that's the goal, then you should see like how it's run, how these people are, how are you around these people too. So
Yeah.
I think it was just a major thrilling experience. And it's like I want to be there again. Like that's the goal, and that's what I'm working towards, being there again.
Nice. Now, Malcolm, I gotta ask you. I remember growing up, I was a huge WrestlePro mark, and one of the moments that stands out. I'm curious how it came to be, how they picked you. Tell me about being in the ring with Colby Covington. I remember that one clear as day.
So it was so random. So like Colby Covington kept on trying to call out a UFC fighter called Ty, Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
So he tried to call out Tyron Woodley. So the whole time that he's trying to call him out, like he's ducking him, he's just not giving him the fight that he wants. So he used WrestlePro to entice him to set the fight. So in order to entice him to set the fight, they picked a guy who kind of looks like Tyron Woodley, but is completely opposite shape wise as Tyron Woodley. So, so when Kevin hit me up and told me about the idea, I was like, wow, all right, I'm down to do it. So they was like, when you get in the ring, just act like you don't know how to fight and do the worst like fighting motions that you can. And I just took it and I ran with it. Then he knocked me out and it went everywhere. It got viral and it was fun to be in it though too.
Yeah.
But it was a funny moment and it got a lot of views too. So it
Yeah.
was it was a fun moment to be a part of.
You're a viral superstar.
Yeah.
Now, Ronnie, I'm curious. One thing that a lot of wrestlers say they wish they could do, but they haven't yet, is have the chance to wrestle in Alaska. So for you, how was that experience getting to do that and check that goal off?
Man, when I found out that Kevin Matthews was booking that show, it just at the time it seemed like a feat of imagination, like yeah, sure, a show in Alaska, and then Kevin and Pat Buck actually put it together and put the pieces in place. And while Malcolm and I were trending up in our careers at that point, becoming more significant, got fixtures in the roster, I should say. I still didn't think we were on that level to be included, but Kevin told me one night that there was just an open spot in an opening tag team match, and he had me in mind. So I was down for it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just that's kind of a once in a lifetime experience. So I found that it was going to be myself and Buster Jackson versus Chris Avery Kuling and Craig Steele. So all guys that I was very familiar with, but if I have any regrets, is that I didn't get to do it with Malcolm.
Yeah.
At the same time, just that experience. I was not even 20. No, sorry, I was 21. I was 21 turning 22. That was actually the weekend before my birthday. And I just remember that was my first time traveling kind of on my own. And I just remember feeling a little bit homesick. But once time went on, I ended up having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And to that show, just being around, in a locker room with Mick Foley and MJF was there. Think of the time period. This is like a few months before AEW.
Is this like the first or the second trip they make?
So I was on the very first one.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that was the very first event that was at the Sullivan Arena, which Kevin did the research on this, and there's no way to tell if it's like 100% official. So the stat is I am unofficially the youngest wrestler to ever compete in the Sullivan Arena.
Wow.
Because you go back to I want to say the 80s, the WWF was running events in that arena. So yeah, if it's true, I'm very proud of that stat.
Nice. Now I'm curious. Now I know it was under the WrestlePro banner, but was there anything standing out wrestling Alaska, like how the crowd was or anything like that?
Just the sheer size, I would say.
Okay.
That's a large arena, but they were able to pack it with over 1,000 people.
Nice.
Which is to this day one of the largest crowds I've ever been in front of. So that was pretty astounding. And then even just before the doors opened, just to see the sheer size of the place. Other than that, the crowd is just happy to see wrestling because at the time they didn't really get a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just Alaska as a state is unlike anything you'll ever experience. Just seeing the atmosphere, seeing the mountains, feeling the snowfall, the air. It's different up there.
Nice. So Malcolm, how is it getting in the ring? I think this is early on for job security with Duke the Dumpster.
That was also another random segment there. We were backstage and then they said that they wanted to get us in the ring. So the major thing was trying to get all three of us hit with one trash can shot. So we had to get so close together, and so he could hit us with the shot. But it was amazing. He was so cool to be around and talk to. So yeah, it was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, Ronnie, early in your career, not a lot of people can say they've had experiences like that. How was that for you?
Man, it was crazy because, I mean, Duke, honestly, just a little bit before my time, but I knew the star that he was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of those moments where, you're being trusted with an opportunity like that to help highlight a legend in this business. It's truly it's another source of pride, I'll say.
Nice. Now I'm curious, you talked about wrestling earlier. Is there any stories or anything that stands out to you, Ronnie, wrestling Team Espana? Because I didn't even know they were to stop wrestling for a while right now.
Man, those guys are probably my favorite opponents.
Nice.
I can't say enough good things about them because Malcom and I wrestled them for the first time way back in 2016 before we were even job security. We just happened to be teamed up together, and just to fast forward through time, and I can honestly say that wrestling those guys made us so much better as a tag team. We just learned so much about the fundamentals of tag team wrestling. They really they gave us an education in the ring. It was just I can't say enough good things. Like the four of us have had a very healthy rivalry, and I'm proud to say across several promotions, several states across the Northeast. And I'm just very proud of the work that we all put in together, the four of us. The matches that we've had are some of the best I think we've ever had in our career. And honestly, like, I'll peel back the curtain here a little bit. The four of us absolutely love each other.
Nice.
So to address what you're saying about them now, Hoseby has retired.
Okay.
Jose, you might see him back in the ring at some point.
Nice. Malcom, what is it about that connection with job security and Team Espana?
I feel like they took us under their wing, and they like I don't think we would be as good as we were are as good as we are without our rivalry with those guys. And like it's amazing. Like our first tag match where it's just me and Ronnie was against Tito Spaya, the Hispanic mechanic. And then like if you look at each and every one of our matches with them, there's not one match that's the same as the other. Like all of our matches always had a different story or a different feel to it. So like everything we did with it, it's like we just gelled so perfectly. And like to be in the ring with those guys, I love those guys to death. They love us. So it's just like it was just magic with them. So like it sucks that like I know Host B has a family, has a wife, and he's retired now. But I think that me and Ronnie were their last match,
Really?
which is which is a blessing to me. Like that was a whole I would love to be their last match, but I would love even more. Like I feel like we could do more. And I'm gonna keep on like poking the bear, trying to get him out of retirement because
Yeah.
selfishly, I just love being in the ring with them. And I feel like we could do more, but like if that was their last match together and we were the last opponents that they had, like I am honored by that.
Yeah, so when we talk about opportunities, you guys have wrestled some of the best of the best. So Ronnie, I don't know how early in this career, when do you guys get to wrestle was a Dango and Santana, it's Tito Santana in a match?
That was 2022, I believe. We were booked for SWF, and that got turned into an 8-man tag team match.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be completely honest. The match as a whole, I am not proud of it. It was not a good match.
Yeah.
But I am very proud, and I'm gonna take it to the grave with me. I got bumped around by Tito Santana.
Yeah, not a lot of people could say
Who else
that.
could say that? You know what I mean? That moment, apart from the rest of the match, I will cherish that forever. Tito was awesome. Just communicating with him, standing across the ring from him, just phenomenal. Like once in a lifetime experience.
Nice. How was that experience for you, Malcom?
I feel the same way like Ronnie. Like as a match as a whole, not that good.
Yeah.
But just being in the ring with Tito and just seeing him move and how he talked, it's like it was just amazing. Especially because I grew up in that area, that era. So
Yeah.
I was a Tito Santana fan. So just seeing that and just being in the ring with him was just amazing.
Yeah, so when we talk about it, Ronnie, you came to WrestlePro first, I believe. No, was it you first that started training?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
So when you started going to WrestlePro to all the way now, what would you say are some of the matches or moments that stand out to you?
In WrestlePro, I mean, the first one that has to come to mind is when we won the Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
I could pick any match we've had with the Beach Bums and throw that one in there.
Yeah.
The match we had with Team Espana, I don't remember what edition of Shotgun Thursday night it was. It was maybe it was October 2019, around that time.
Yeah.
We had a match with them that like I hold very high. Like I was very happy with that match. Also on Shotgun, we had a match with the Shook Crew that I absolutely love. Just I thought it was very entertaining. Those are probably like some of the top ones for me.
Nice. What about for you, Malcom?
for me right now is the cornerstones. Like
Nice.
I love that match just because they trusted us with their top stars, and then we got to get in the ring and really show that we could. What we just got to show what we could do at that time.
Yeah.
So that's a match that I really hold in retrospect.
Yeah. So, Ronnie, I got to ask you this now. I'm in college currently, and a lot of people, wrestling is starting to get cool. It's not really all there yet. People don't really watch WWE or any of that. However, when I bring up three letters, all of a sudden a bell rings. So, I'm curious for you guys. Is there any moments, or I'm curious how your opportunity even came there? How did GTS start for you guys?
So that was Officer James. That was
Okay.
he,
Yeah.
he was a fixture on that show. He convinced us to join him, and just kind of mesh his worlds, WrestlePro and GTS. Um, I didn't really know what it was. I'd seen clips around online, because Grimm actually got some big names on that show. I know Pat was on there at one point. MJF was on there at one point. Brian Myers, Robert Stone, Robbie E was on there at one point. Rhett Titus. Some big names actually passed through that warehouse, which actually I would find out later was not that far from where I live. It was about a 20-minute drive. So I figured, what's the harm? Ended up having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting. Just, it's it's a little childish, it's a little juvenile, but in a good way,
Yeah.
I still to this day, like, I'll see fans online talking about it fondly, that time period of GTS. So I'm proud that I was a part of it.
Nice.
In terms of like matches or moments, once again we got to like carry our rivalry with the Beach Bums over onto that show, which I think just made it so much better.
Nice. Malcolm, what about you? Any moments that stand out there?
There's one moment that really stands out that I laugh to this day about. We was in a ladder match, my first ever ladder match, and me and Roddy were opponents in the match. And he speared me to the door. And as he speared me to the door, I looked up at him and he gave me the double birds. As I'm laying through a door. So that's one of the moments that it was hard for me not to laugh on that moment. But yeah, that's one of my favorite moments at GTS.
Yeah, like I talk to Grim once in a while because I thank him because it wasn't for you guys. Like now I'm commentating shows, now I'm going to shows, having these moments. So you guys going there, man. You guys made a connection, not just with me, with a lot of people.
I couldn't be happier to hear that.
Yeah.
That's another source of pride for me.
Yeah. So I'm curious, we talk about job security. When do you guys officially decide it's time to evolve to Security Inc.? Whose idea is it?
That's something we came up with collectively.
Nice.
And in hindsight, the idea was in our minds even before the pandemic of 2020. But I think Malcolm brought it up to me first because we thought about it. But I think it was just a matter of finding the right time. And then once the pandemic hit and our WrestlePro Tag Team title reign ended, and we just really weren't doing much at all in wrestling, I was just kind of jaded during COVID. I just really wasn't enjoying the whole studio taping thing, and I really just wasn't having fun anymore. I took a good bit of time off, about 6 months, and then in 2021, Malcolm and I kind of reconnected. Not that we ever really lost touch, but we reconnected, ready to like get the band back together, get back to work finally. And then I think we realized that now was the time to just come out with a fresh coat of paint after we haven't been seen together for almost a year at this point. So yeah, it was just a matter of time. Job security served its purpose as being, Bobby Wayward security. And then in my mind, the story was told. We went from the scrappy underdogs who got their asses kicked all the time to being the tag team champions. So the job aspect, for which smart wrestling term job, was the innuendo the whole time.
I was just going to ask what it stood for.
Yeah. Just over broke, basically.
So Malcolm, how does the evolve go for you, the transformation? Or is this something that you guys are ready to do?
Yeah, it just felt right. Like as soon as we won the title, it felt like we wasn't jobbers anymore. So I just felt like that was hurting us. Where anytime we try to get a booking, they just saw us as jobbers. It's like we can't do that with you because that was your name. And I thought that was hurting us. But I think the perfect time was after we won the titles. We didn't defend them for a couple of months because the pandemic hit right away, right after we won the titles. And then our first title defense, we lost the titles. So then once we lost the titles, it was just like, all right, now it was like it was time to get a fresh coat of paint. Like it was time to change everything around, but it was also time we didn't have gear until when we debuted the game, the name and everything. So it kind of felt like we were going back to the basics. Like we lost the title, we got to the mountaintop, we got to the top. Now it's time to go back to the basics and go back to our roots and then build it back up.
Yeah. So Malcolm, I'm curious, what was the inspiration behind the guard dog?
So it was. I was actually. I went to a seminar with Mario Fokker, our coach.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to find my way. Like when I was doing job security, I would come up with like different things. Like I wear the Triple H leather hat because I was the enforcer.
Yeah.
I'll come out with Carl because I was. So I kept on coming up with different things and like having different ideas just so I could set myself apart. So I went to the seminar and he was talking about character work, and he just said like he talked about just looking in the mirror and just being honest with yourself and being truthful to yourself. So I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. So I looked in the mirror and I was like, what wrestler do I like look like that I represent? And one of the wrestlers like I'm looking at that look like that I thought of was Junkyard Dog. So I thought about Junkyard Dog, so then I started watching his matches, and I started watching Rick Steiner, and I don't know, it just clicked to me. And I remember I texted Lonnie up like, "Hey, like, cops have dogs. Like, I think I want to be a dog." And like anybody asked, like, they didn't really get the gimmick, but I had to I had to show them in order for them to really actually get it. And then once I showed them, it was like, oh, okay, that's what it is, and all right, that's pretty good. Okay, I get it now. But yeah, that's what it was. It was just like hearing that, like looking in the mirror and seeing, being honest with yourself, and then it just snowballed from there.
Nice. What about you, Ronnie? Where'd the inspiration for Officer come in? Who thought of the black and blue?
So officer was just honestly we were all called officers once
Yeah.
started. It was just a neutral term. Um, to backpedal, job security was black and red.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not even something that we decided on. We just noticed that for WrestlePro, our entrance video was black and red. So we just figured, okay, this is black and red. Let's get black and red clothes and then later on gear to match that. So we stuck with black and red for that point in time. And then once it was just Malcolm and I as a tag team, the two of us, and Malcolm adopted the guard dog character in 2019. I just took that and thought of, okay, he's going to be this. I could still be the officer because that's my look, but how do I accentuate that even more? So that's when I really zoned in, like, okay, Malcolm's developing his character. Let me develop my character. So I traded in the old job security t-shirt that we'd worn for years at that point, and I got an official security shirt with a badge and a Moses nameplate and this job security logo on the sleeves and sunglasses, and I just made myself look as official as I possibly could. And then to fast forward to the Security Inc. transition, obviously with the changing our name, we had to change our look a little bit too. Now we're still security, we're still a security team, but changing the colors I think was instrumental. And you know, most police forces that you see, security forces, they were a blue or some shade of blue.
Yeah.
So I just think the black and the blue and the white was just a natural fit.
Nice. So when we talk about your resume keeps going and going, we'll start with you, Ronnie. What did it feel like to win the AXW Tag Team Championships?
Just incredibly proud, you know, because WrestlePro meant a lot to us because we just put in years of work behind the scenes at Creative Pro New Jersey to get to that point. Winning our first championship away from home, I guess you could say, just is an incredible sign to me that we were doing something right, that we were really clicking. It was a lot to get to AXW, and then just once we had finally gotten that opportunity, just to see how we connected with the audience right away. It was a pretty quick turnaround, honestly. It was a surprise because we made our tag team debut just 4 months before that. And then to be elevated into the tag team title picture was just tremendous. Yeah, I loved it. Just really proud of it.
Nice. What did that mean to you, Malcolm?
Oh, it was amazing. It was just like how I said when we became security agents, it was like started from the beginning. So it felt like we were on the rise, but it wasn't. I just felt like we wasn't getting eyes on us, but we were clicking. Like everything we was doing was clicking. And then it was right before we got to AXW, there was another switch where it was like, all right, like how we felt like it was time to turn babyface, like it was the perfect time. It felt like that was the perfect time. Now from the pandemic to that point, right before AEW, now it's the perfect time to turn heel. And we had like the pandemic kind of like Ronnie said, it like got us got a chip on our shoulders from like how everything was. So now we can use that, and now it feels like we're at another beginning where now at AXW we're heels and we're learning new things and we're getting in the groove and we got the tag titles right at the perfect spot. It was like it's an amazing moment. But now it's like I feel like getting the tag titles was day one, and now that we're in our groove and we're added to it, like I don't think we're at our perfect form yet, and we're still learning new things. But I think it's just like it's clicking, and we're getting our identities, and we're getting like where we're gonna be. And it's like taking those tag titles and like elevating it to another level. I'm just loving like the run that we are, and I feel like we're gonna go high as we can with these tag titles.
Yeah, so Malcolm, we talk AXW. How did this partnership with Ava Everett start?
It was it was just like we just sitting around like thinking of like brainstorming of different things and thinking about like how can we get better. Like I changed my interest gear too. So Ronnie like he has the officer interest gear. And I was like, you know what? I want to compliment him. Like I felt like I wanted to be like I still want to be the guard dog, but I do want to be the enforcer. But I want to be like I just wanted to up how I look too, like more intimidating. So I got the goggles, I got a mask, I got chains, I got a vest, and I was like I wanted to compliment what he was doing. I feel like too, I was like there was something that we came up with the idea of having a manager or having a group, but also having a manager to be with us because that's another level, another thing that's added to us.
Mm,
And it doesn't take away from us; it adds to us. So coming up with the idea and everything, it just fit, but it just fit perfectly, and the storyline just fit perfectly on how we did it. So
nice.
it was just amazing.
Ronnie Moses adding Ava Everett to Security Inc. I never thought years ago this would happen. What are your thoughts on it?
Man, AXW has just given us such a great platform to develop our characters, I guess you could say, and just really be ourselves, honestly. Just creatively, just I think it's the best outlet we've had to date, honestly.
Nice.
And then in terms of Ava Everett, we just kind of felt like the time was right to add another wrinkle in there, just expand a little bit, further that development. And then we knew that we wanted to expand. And in terms of picking the right person, that was Malcom. He had the foresight to see Ava and see the work that she was doing and her character and realized that she would be a great fit with us. And I was like, I don't know, Y2 Cutie with like it's I don't know if that fits. But man, the first time that she stepped into a ring with us and got on the microphone with us, it was instant. I was like, oh, this is gonna work.
Nice.
It's been great. Like she's a phenomenal wrestler, performer. She's a lot of fun. It's great.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Ronnie. We talk about your resume for you guys. What was it like to win the VPW Kings in New York?
Victory Pro Wrestling. What a journey it's been at Victory Pro Wrestling. We debuted there in 2022, and I know we're going to talk about the Rat Bastards later, but we had a very long rivalry with them. And we've been on quite the journey together, Malcom and I. The story was told of us, going through the Rat Bastards, and he and I going through our own turmoil with each other. We talk about fresh starts. The start of this year was another fresh start at VPW because we had taken a good 6 months away from there. And Kings of New York was the perfect opportunity for us to show a new side of ourselves. Winning that crown and winning it the way that we did, you talk about career highlights.
Nice.
I don't know if I've ever been more pumped up coming back through the curtain. I just couldn't contain my excitement. I literally yelled at the top of my lungs and just kind of embarrassed myself in front of the locker room, but I didn't even care. I was just so excited because of how it turned out. We just had a great match with the Body Snatchers in the preliminary, and then our finals against Even Stevens. I hold it up there as one of the best matches we've ever had. And then just the turn at the end, me hitting Steven Azure with that low blow. I hit that low blow, and I made sure to look across the aisle at everyone who was looking at me. And just with my eyes, I wanted to say, you all made me this person. You all made me do this because you all disrespected me. You disrespected Malcom. And this is the result of that disrespect. So what you're about to see at VPW is the next evolution of Security Inc. And I'm just so excited.
Nice. Malcom, what did that mean to you, and what does VPW mean to you?
Oh, I think too. I love being at VPW, and I think too. Like to me, VPW was like the first place to actually like take a chance on us after the pandemic and like after like everything we went through during the pandemic. So like I hold VPW a high regard. And I like that's one of my homes. Like I love WrestlePro, I love AXW, but VPW too. Like those are my homes. But winning the Kings of New York, it was just like it was just an amazing moment where now like you could see what we was doing at AXW, like how things are growing with the tag titles, and like we stepped into a new, like, it felt like a new development in our characters. It feels so cool right now. We got to show that at AEW. Now we get to bring it to VPW. And like, there's a reason why we're doing it. There's a reason, like storyline reasons on why we turned heel. And it's like we can tap into something different that they haven't seen before and actually grow with it. It's like it feels like the beginning of something that's going to be special. Like it's going to be a long ride. And like I think that it's going to be something that the fans enjoy, but we're going to love doing. Like we're going to make a story that people are going to love to see.
What's it like wrestling the Rat Bastards? All these years later, this is kind of like a full circle moment in a way.
Man, our first match against them, I really wasn't. Well, actually, let me back up because we had a couple matches in WrestlePro before we even got to Victory Pro Wrestling, and we had a nice short series with them. I enjoyed both matches. I talked about the Beach Bums being a foil for us back in the day. Yeah. Modern day Security Inc., the Rat Bastards were our perfect foil. You had the two ex-criminals taking on the security team. It was just, the story writes itself.
Yeah.
Once we got to VPW, the crowd reception to our first match was absolutely off the charts. Just an incredible, like, the ovation when we got that pinfall over them after we hit the lockdown was unlike anything I've ever heard. I couldn't believe it. I was taken aback.
Nice.
And from there, it spawned into a years-long story where we just took the fans on this ride. We got the up on them, but then they came back. They found a way to get under our skin, get under Malcolm's skin. Just made it a really personal story. They targeted his family. Just in terms of storytelling, that series of matches we had in 2023, I will put that up against absolutely anything because the ride that we took the fans on, I'm just so incredibly proud of that. In terms of match quality, it was incredible. It was just a really great story. Sadly, I don't think we got to the conclusion that we wanted to. But we move on to new things. And like I said, the new things are very exciting. But that story, for what it was, I'm super happy with it.
Nice. Malcom, what does that story mean for you?
That's good. So, like Ronnie said, it was just the perfect match.
Nice.
But like going back to if you think about job security, you think about Alex Blasco.
Yeah.
Then he teamed with us. Now he left. He comes back and now he changed his name. He has a partner. Like we never talked about it, but it was always like a thing. Like all right, I know. Like the people who knew, they knew. So it
Yeah.
was just like it was a perfect fit for us. And then like we got to get in the ring with them at WrestlePro. And then that's when like the wheels started turning. It was like, wow, these guys like we actually matched really well with them. So then once we got to VPW, when we had a match against them, it was supposed to just be a one off.
Hmm.
It was just supposed to be a one off day and then like we go off on to our own thing. So then like I don't know I was sitting there and I was talking with my wife and I came up with the idea of like what if they target my family and stalk my family? Like I asked her, she said that she was okay with it. So then once she was okay with it, then Ronnie was on board with it, then everybody in the involved with the angle was on board with it. Then we was off to the races from there. So then like it was it's something that I'm very proud of because every match like the mechanics, every match we had with them was different from the match before.
Nice.
And we kept on and I love those guys. And each match we grew together. And then the things that they would learn from us, they would go and take us elsewhere, and they would win tag titles on other places. So I was just loving how we were growing together, and every match was different. And then it was becoming like storyline inside a storyline inside a storyline. Like we were almost on a 2 year storyline with those guys, but it was so interesting. It's like just think about being in a storyline for almost 2 years and you don't reach the point that you want to reach, and you can. There's so much more that you could tell.
Yeah.
Like it's just like Ronnie said, like he'll put that against anything. I will put that against anything too, because I feel like at one point we helped like we they win the titles. We're trying to win the titles. They screw us out of the titles. We screw them out of the titles. They attack my family. It's like it was so much going on in that rivalry that a lot of good stuff that was happening in the rivalry. The matches were on fire. It was just magical. And I put it against everything too. So I love those guys. And then Alex left. That's why where the feud ended and he ended the tag team. I hope that everything's good with him and I love him. But I just felt like we could have done more and who knows, maybe we might be able
Yeah.
to in Berkeley. He's still in the business, so we don't know what we could do, but the matches with them, they're like the perfect points for us.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for doing this. However, I've ended every interview the same. Now, we can start with you, Ronnie, because you started pro wrestling first. The day you decide it's all done in pro wrestling, which I hope is no time soon, what do you want Ronnie Moses, and if you want to do Security Inc.'s legacy in wrestling to be?
Man, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm going to go for at least another 10, let me tell you.
Yeah, the good.
So no end in sight.
Yeah.
My legacy, man, when I first got into the business, to me, as a teenager, I thought my only means of success was getting to WWE. Now that I'm older, now that I'm wiser, obviously, getting a contract is still the ultimate goal. But man, my legacy, I want to be remembered, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I just hope that, the kids I see coming to shows these days, I hope that when they get older, they remember Security Inc. They remember seeing job security at WrestlePro. I just want them to tell their family, like, oh, I used to go see the wrestling shows back in the day, and there was this one tag team, or there was this one guy. I just want them to tell those stories of my matches and our matches. That's really all I want, man. I want to make an impression. I want to be remembered. I want to keep having fun. That's really it for me,
Yeah.
man.
Malcom, what about you? What do you want yours and Security Inc.'s legacy to be in pro wrestling?
Oh man, for me personally, like my legacy that I want to leave is I just want I just want my kids to see like this kid and like nobody really believed it who came into school randomly with scoliosis and nobody saw anything in who thought that he was gonna quit his first month. Went on and he had a 10-year, 12-year, 14-year career, you know. So I want my legacy to show my kids like if you want something, if you believe in something, don't let nobody tell you no. Don't quit your dreams just because people are doubting you or people don't believe in you. You believe in yourself and you achieve what you can believe. I want my career to be where they see that I might not make it to WWE, I might not make it to AEW, but I lived my life. Like I lived the the dream that I wanted. I said when I was younger that I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And I'm a professional wrestler who's been doing it for a decade. So
Nice.
that's a beautiful moment, an amazing moment. And I might have 10 more years or 12 more years. I don't know how many more years I have left, but I'm gonna ride it to the wheels for a while.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you guys for doing this. I said it, man. All these years later, I think I met you guys when I was like 12 years old and I just turned 20 a few weeks. So thank you guys for everything, man. I appreciate it.
Our
Well, thank
pleasure.
you for having us up. It's just surreal to see you as an adult. Like I
Yeah.
still see you as like
I
this
know.
12-year-old kid.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, like when you guys did GTS and even growing, like Ronnie, like at 12, 13 years old, you didn't have to talk to me all the time and everything. So all these years later, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Of course, buddy. You were one of the first people who like really gravitated towards us. Made me see what we were capable of in terms of expanding our fan base. And like I told you privately, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because you're chasing your dreams, and I'm just glad I could be a part of your journey, man.
Thank you. Thank you guys for everything, man. And thank you everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.